My name is Carole Hübscher. I'm the president of Caran.
My name is Vitus. I'm the chemist of Caran.
We are at Jackson Studio in London, and I'm very much looking forward to telling you a little bit more about the great brand Caran and what's behind the scene. Caran started in 1915 in the center of Geneva when three entrepreneurs from Geneva decided at one point that they wanted to make and manufacture pencils. They didn't know at the time how complicated it is to produce pencils. They bought a factory that was manufacturing at the time soap and candles and transformed it to manufacture pencils. So they first started. It took quite a while until it was really good to go, and started with only graphite pencils at the time. In 1924, the company's been bought out by a man called Arnold Schweitzer, who renamed it Caran. Later on, in 1930, the company was growing, and this is when my family started to invest into the company, and I'm today the representative of the fourth generation. So Caran started with graphite pencils. What was very funny is that all the different know-hows, métiers, as we say in French, were asking for different sorts of products, like stenography, like architects and so on, with different sorts of graphites. And this is when really we developed different sorts of pencils according to the needs of each of these customers. You had also people that were using it on wood or using it on stone. Some of the graphite were really, really hard, so you could only write on stone, and things like that that were quite interesting. And then later on, we had some trouble finding the wood. It's cedar wood from California and Oregon. And it was sometimes difficult to find the wood. And this is when the engineers of Caran started thinking of how can we hold a lead, a graphite lead, in a different way than having it under wood. And this is when the first clutch pencil was developed. That was really, I would say, the first innovation of Caran, with the first clutch pencil made out of metal that could hold graphite lead. Later on, Caran still innovated quite a bit by developing the first color pencils in the world and the first water-soluble color pencils. It was back in the late 20s. And at that time, we really worked on the recipes, on how to develop something that was also different. Finding also new raw materials, the pigments, developing new recipes to make the leads. And this is when the first color pencils arrived on the market. Our Caran products are all made in Geneva, in Switzerland. So it's really 100% made in Switzerland product. What is very important to us is really the excellence that we put in every step of our manufacturing process. Manufacturing pencils is extremely complicated. Just to give you an idea, to produce a color pencils, it's more than 35 steps of manufacturing process, and a graphite pencil is more than 50 different steps. So it's very, very long, and you need to have great raw materials. That's the first thing. And then you need to have fantastic experts, technicians, and great manufacturing and machinery behind all the process of manufacturing the pencils. You have more watch manufacturers in Geneva than you have pencil manufacturers in Europe and United States reunited. So it's really a know-how that is really exceptional and very rare still today.
To formulate a color product, when I say color product, it can be a lead, a wax pastel, dry pastel, oil pastels. you need always pigments. Fillers like talcum, kaolin, calcium carbonates, and binder. We have a lot of people visiting Caran d'Ache every year. We have many teachers or artists. And the question is always, for example, do you use natural pigments? And this is one of the main questions I have each time we make a visit. And I always answer no. Because if you look through history, what kind of pigments were used during the antiquity or the Middle Age? Natural pigments were toxic. And today, thanks to chemistry, we can propose safe colors. When you make a liquid paint, you just prepare a liquid. You have to fill bottles and tubes, but it's not so complicated, in fact. Graphite products are based on graphite powder and clay. So you have only two components. I'm not sure that we are more than 2 or 3 manufacturers in Europe who still make its own graphite base product. It's so difficult to use the graphite in a factory because it's dark. You have powders, thin powders everywhere. So it's very complicated to make the graphite later. Each recipe is a new product. It's not you don't launch a new product which is a range of pastel pencil or museum. Each color is a new product, and you need sometimes some colors need 1, 2, 3 days before being correctly developed. But for some colors you need months. We needed months. In the case of the pastel, it's not so easy. You need to make the balance between all the ingredients all the time.
There is something I can tell you, really. Somebody that is visiting a pencil manufacturer, specifically the Caran d'Ache manufacturer, they will never see the pencil the same way. It's true, when you look at the product, it's just, when you look at it, you think, well, it's a pencil. But if you would think how much know-how you need to have to develop such a product, it's amazing. There are a few elements. First one is definitely the fact that we are manufacturing everything ourselves. So we have really very verticalized from the beginning to the end. It's made in Geneva, in our workshops in Geneva. That's one point. The second point is probably the number of colors that Caran d'Ache has in its assortments. We probably have more than 500 colors. When you took all the different collections that we have in terms of pencils.
It's just huge, producing 500 different color pencil museum, luminance, supracolor 120, supracolor 120 Pablo. So just using 100 pigments is something incredible. You need to have stock of all these pigments every day. So it's not easy to manage. It is also the secret maybe of the quality. I explain, for example, to make a green, using a green pigment or mixing blue and yellow is not the same. You increase the purity of the range if you use maximum of pigments.
And this is important because you have some other brands that will add white, for instance, or grays, or different shades, and the purity of the color is very different this way. It's premium in everything we're doing, and making sure that we have the best experts, the best cook, we call them almost cooks, that are working on every steps of the manufacturing process. And of course, the agility also of having a lot of our production line in terms of machines that have been also developed to our own needs. What makes it also interesting is we started, yes, with pencils, but later on we started innovating into different sorts of products, such as the pastel. We started also developing paints like gouache in cubes and in tubes, acrylic as well. And then arrived also the writing instruments. To be able to manufacture a pen in metal, out of metal, it's completely different from the know-hows of the colors. So more than 90 different know-hows, more than 300 people working in our workshops in Geneva. We are developing the tools of creativity that you carry in your hand. Everything is made under the same roof in Geneva. That's really exceptional. When using Caran d'Ache products, it's also very important for you to have the right tools around the products. Choosing the proper paper, choosing the proper sharpening machine, for instance, making sure that everything that is around you to make your work is of good quality. This is very important because you're spending so much time. You have to respect all the products that allows you to make your beautiful artwork. To sharpen a Caran d'Ache pencil, it's very important to choose the proper sharpening machine. It's extremely important to have a sharpening machine that has a good blade. We have at Caran d'Ache a product that was developed in the 30s. It's still an iconic product from Caran d'Ache today. It's our sharpening machine. Just for the little story, at the time in Switzerland, this sharpening machine was on the desk of the teacher at schools. And we had to ask and raise the hand, can I come and sharpen my pencils? And they would say, yes, but don't sharpen too much. But it was really recognized as the sharpening machine from school. Now for pastel pencils, for instance, it's complicated to sharpen it with a standard sharpener. That's where it's also important to have different sorts of sharpening techniques, like using the blade just directly like this on the pencil, and to make sure that you're doing it really smoothly, because of course the lead of pastels is very fragile, so you have to do it very smoothly. I don't think there is a specific angle also to sharpen your pencils this way, but just leave a little bit of wood in order to hold the lead perfectly well into the pencil. First of all, you have to work on the lead. The lead is the most challenging, I would say, part, because this is what you will leave on paper later on. So this is why it's very important to choose the best ingredients. You add pigment, kaolin, and then different elements in order to mix and grind the mixture very well. Then we will put this mixture into a machine that will extrude the lead just like a very long spaghetti. And this very long spaghetti will be cut in the length of a pencil.
Just to put the lead into the wood, of course, you need to make straight leads. It's not so easy during the drying process. And you need to control the diameter. When we make a batch, for example, of graphite HP, we produce more than 200,000 leads. We measure the lower and the higher diameter. And if the range is more than 0.06 millimeter, we refuse the batch.
Then when it's coming out of the dryer, you have your lead that is straight, but that is very hard at this stage, and you can't really write properly on the paper. So that's why you need to give the leads a little bath, a little wax bath, in order to smoothen the lead and make sure that afterwards it will write properly on the paper. And now, how are you going to put the leads inside the wood? Many people think, oh, we're pushing the lead inside of the wood and so on. No. So at Caran d'Ache, we exclusively buy California cedar wood. It's an FSC certified wood. It's a wood that is very smooth, doesn't have any nuts. It's easy also to sharpen. Sometimes people asking me, but why don't you use cedar from different regions? This wood that is growing in California is very specific. Next step that you need to do is to groove inside the slat. You will put the leads inside, and once this is done, you will glue two slats together in order to make a sandwich. And here you are now with this sandwich that carries all the leads inside. And then you will cut those slats, those sandwiches, into pencils. So now you get what we call the raw pencil, and now you need to put color on it. Very important part as well. And for us at Caran d'Ache, what we do with that is we're using only water-based varnish on all our pencils. And these pencils, until they have this fantastic color, for instance, the red in here, you need to add 6 layers minimum of varnish. 6 layers that take quite a long time to dry up since it's water-based. This is not finished then. Next step is to put the name of the pencil, the name of the color, the resistance to light, for instance, and then the little tip at the end that finishes really the product.
For us, chemists, we have to develop 3 different recipes. One for the lead, one for the barrel or the varnish, and one for the cap. So 3 different recipes with different ingredients, sometimes different pigments. The pigment contained in the lead is not always the same that we use to make the varnish. It's very difficult to match the color of the 3. For that, we have, of course, we have machines, or what we call a colorimeter in the lab, and we have different chemists working who are specialists. One is specialist for the varnish, one specialist for the lead, and we are in the same team, so we work together.
What is also very challenging when you are manufacturing pencils is until you have the 120 colors, for instance, to make the box. It takes a few months, even years sometimes, depending of how many colors you want to put into your box, until you have all the different colors produced. Today, we employ a bit more than 300 people. They are representing more than 90 different professions. I call them La Famille Caran d'Ache. I think we are part of a big family. The average at Caran d'Ache, people stay for 12 years, which is quite exceptional still today, I would say. Some people are here for more than 45 years. Some people got married also at Caran d'Ache. We have some families with husband, wife, and kids also working at Caran d'Ache. So it's really a family business. And I'm very proud of that because we are all on the same boat, all aiming at the same goal, trying to manufacture the best quality products in the world. It is true that the branding of Caran d'Ache is very Swiss. When you look at our logo, it really carries the colors of Switzerland, the red and the white. I think really it's part also a value of our USP. I think that today manufacturing everything in Switzerland is a little bit crazy. The footprint also that you bring into your business is something that should be looked after. And make sure that you are sustainable. We're talking a lot about durability and so on. It is important. It's true when you look at some of our boxes, like the Prismalo box, for instance, that has the Matterhorn mountain on it. It's like the chocolate box in pencils. When I took over the presidency from my dad in 2012, it was quite interesting to see that at the time we had different logos. We had a logo for our color product, which was also red and white, with the letters that were dropping like paint to a certain extent. And in the writing field, we had 2 other different logos. And this is when we decided to have only one logo at the end. Because for me, the fact that in every category that we have, we are excellent. We are in search of excellency everywhere. And for me, it's not an issue to use the same branding. Yes, it's very classic and very authentic to Switzerland, but at the same time, it's also very, very contemporary and very much linked to what we want to give our customers is this passion for color.
I think the most beautiful story about Lightfastness was the birth of luminance. I remember that the American distributor of Caran in 1997 received a letter from the CPSA, which is the Color Pencil Society of America. He asked the pencils manufacturers and the ASTM to collaborate and to work together to try to develop a standard concerning the lightfastness of color pencil. And during 2 years, and it's not a joke, during 2 years, we made, I think, more than 600 recipes, 600 trials in the lab. From these 600 colors, we kept 200 colors. And these 200 colors were sent in America in 2 laboratories, one in Florida and in Arizona, where the colors applied on a standard paper were exposed under the UV, the natural UV light in the desert during 3 months. And from these 200 tests, we kept the 76 first luminance, which were launched in 2008.
We are very, very happy to see that also the customers, once they've tried the product, I mean, they can't go to anything else anymore because of the quality, because of the certification, making sure with this product that their work will not disappear in time.
The heart of the chemist, I would say, is to be aware and to try, always trying, developing new, testing new pigments, trying to develop new colors. And yes, it is what makes this job so grateful or nice, I think.
In 2015, Caran celebrated its 100 years. So I'll tell you a very funny story about that. At the time, I had the chance to go to a very nice exhibition that was held in Geneva of Picasso artwork together with a very famous photographer, friend of Picasso, which was named Davis Douglas Duncan. And I knew that there were one picture of Picasso made by Mr. Duncan of Picasso drawing, and he had this Prismalo Caran box opened in front of him, and he was drawing, and it's a lovely picture. So after the talk, I went and asked them, would you agree if I would make a book one day for celebrating 100 years? Would you agree that I use this picture? And they did not answer right away. 2 weeks later, I got this phone call from Claude Picasso, who's telling me, I have a better idea. We have a lot of artwork from my dad with products made by Caran, specifically Prismalo and Neocolor. It would be fun to make an exhibition, Les Caran de Picasso. And I was just, wow. It was just absolutely fantastic to make an exhibition like that for 100 years. It was just, well, the best of the best. Some very famous artists are using our products, from Miro, for instance, or Karl Lagerfeld. So the future of Caran I see it quite bright, let's put it this way, because a few years ago, about 10 years ago, we've decided that we wanted to build a brand new factory for Caran. If everything goes smoothly, in 27, we will move into our new factory, brand new factory, very modern, very sustainable. It's a very strong statement to the fact that we believe in our brand, we believe in the Swiss made, we believe in the quality, and that's the excellence that we want to build on. And it's a very strong statement.